to explore a very particular aspect of the SDG monitoring, which is really looking into the mechanisms of coordination at the city and local administration level. You have all received the concept note, and I'm happy here to welcome to this workshop and peer exchange between the city of Niš, Amman, Greater Amman Municipality, and the city of La Paz. So I would like to give you a bit of context before we get to start into and we go deeper into the exchanges. I am, for those that do not know me, I am Martino Miraglia, and I coordinate the team on SDG localization and local governments within the urban practices branch of the UN Habitat headquarters in Nairobi. In the context of our duties, we do also coordinate the UNDA project on voluntary local reviews in Eastern Europe and Central Asian countries, together with the colleagues of UNDESA, UNSCE, and UCLG, which are now connected, and that I am happy to also share with you their greetings and welcome. From my team here connected, you see many faces. Gaia, that has been in contact with you and that we thank for really putting together this workshop, but also Telman, Claudia, Luisa, John, and so on. This is the SDG localization team, and together with the partners, we form the project coordination team of the Voluntary Local Reviews regional project in the ECE region. Now, why are we even here today? As I mentioned, it's a bit of unusual because I thought that we should explore a bit more this component of coordination and specifically its potential for what comes next for the city, but also for the regional level as well for the national level, as the city of Niš has recently established a monitoring unit and connected to the work on the voluntary local review. Now, as this is a first experience for the city of Niš, as this is really have been an effort of not only commitment, but personal and passionate commitment from the colleagues of the ministry. I'm looking at Tanya, at Sinija, that have made really this commission also possible. And I'm happy that we have other colleagues such as Milena here connected that will present a bit later the experience of the unit. I first also would like to thank the guests, the special guests, the international guests that are here. I see connected Diego, Andres for the city of La Paz. Really, thank you for your time. I also know that it's somehow early. I mean, you start the day with this workshop on your side of the world, but also Mr. Nemne Jazasi and the head of planning and development unit in Greater Amman Municipality. Both La Paz as well as Amman are very important partners for UN Habitat. We have been working together on many different levels, but I think, and we are especially happy that both cities are here today because not only they have been they are capitals of their in terms of SDGs within their regions. Really, they are leading the change and the reflection and the practical application of the SDGs with their current work. But they have both developed mechanisms for coordinations with regards to the SDGs. I personally think, and I've been working on voluntary local reviews for the past 4 years at this point, as of beginning of 2020, that the experiences and the voluntary local reviews of Amman as well as La Paz are some of the best examples that are existing worldwide, and we really push and we really use them as international champions from this point of view. But today here, we are not here necessarily to talk about voluntary local reviews. We are here to talk about monitoring units. So how really this coordination happens at the city level with regards to the connection to data, the monitoring, and how this feeds into evidence for policies, initiatives, and for all the work of the city administration. This is not a formal workshop or event, colleagues. Really, I would like to underline this. I know that my opening was a bit institutional, but the objective here is a peer exchange. It's very important to understand which is the potential of which is the aim of the city of Niš and its monitoring unit, which is the experience from Amman and La Paz, as the next steps in our support and in the city of Niš is really to define the work and locate the work of this monitoring unit within the city administration. So we are really here to listen and to facilitate discussion. We have a series for the next few minutes. We have a series of presentations. We will start with the city of Niš, followed by Amman and then La Paz. And we will then conclude with a round of questions. Now, this is how we have thought about the agenda, but I would, given that really we have 22 people connected, I would really, and we on purpose kept it small, feel free to raise your hand, feel free to put questions in the chat, feel free to interrupt also if you want, because this needs to be a conversation. That's the aim of this workshop. Let's exchange experience and hopefully make the best also for supporting the city of Niš future endeavor on its monitoring unit. If this is good for everyone, if there are no questions maybe here, I would like to ask, given that it's not a lot of us, maybe a quick introduction from the city, from the cities that are speaking today, starting from Niš, who have we connected, and then Amman and La Paz. And I'm kindly asking the colleagues maybe from who is connected here. I know that we have some also other colleagues connected from Georgia, connected from Kyrgyzstan. If you could kindly please put your names in the chat so that we all know who is connected and attending this workshop today. Tanya, I see that you are unmuted. Do you want to start?
First, I think Sinisha can start. Sinisha, please.
Thank you, Tanya. I'm glad to be here. I'll say a few words from the national level. So this is really one bottom-up initiative, which we support very much. So initiative is coming from the local level, and it is very, very much in line with our national policies. In Serbia, we have a national urban policy, which was adopted by the government in 2019. And within that policy, we have a monitoring at national level, but it doesn't stop there. The big challenge is the monitoring at the local level. And that's why this experience with Niš is really precious for us, and it is coming in a very good moment. It is very timely because it is happening at the same time when the voluntary local review is being made for the city of Niš, and I would like just to point out that it is the first voluntary local review for Serbia. So we are really connecting nicely the dots, and I'm also very curious to hear experiences from other countries. But now I would like to give word to colleagues from Niš to tell you something more about the unit.
First, I will say also some words. Somebody knows, but somebody know. I was the chief urban planner in the city of Niš for almost 3 years until April of this year, and I connect some kind of national and local level. The planning, now I am in the Ministry of Construction, Transport and Infrastructure in the Department of Planning Inspection. And planning inspection in accordance with the law controls the preparation of implementation of planning documents. In this way, the ministry carries out a certain monitoring. In parallel with the work in the inspection, the doctoral studies that I'm attending gave me a better insight into the process of planning and implementation of planning documents, but also emphasized the importance of monitoring. And now, today, I am glad that the monitoring unit has been formally established and that I participated in the creation and now in support that this unit plays an important role in the localization of sustainable development goals. Now, I would like to give the floor to Miljana Medarov, who will give you a closer look at the monitoring unit niche.
Thank you, Tanya. I would like to thank Sinisha too for this introduction on our local level. So Tanya started the story with the office of the Chief Urban Planner of the city of Niš. My colleague Anna and I and one more colleague started as an informal group in the Chief Urban Planner's office, and we started very enthusiastic with the same thoughts and the same goals on the one particular way. So it was a beginning of monitoring unit 2 years ago. Why? I should share the presentation to watch. Georgia. So you see what we started. We started collecting data with the purpose of the objectives. Why? Because we started with some workshops, with some meetings, with connecting with people, and we find out that the most of the people in the local administration have a lot of data, but not on the one place. Public enterprises, they have their data, and it was precious for us to know that thing, because we thought that our city doesn't have enough data about anything. So our start was with 1 week meetings with that different organizations, with public enterprises, with the other sectors of the local government and the local administration. So the idea was born then, that we recognized the challenges and we recognized the need, the very huge need for creating some unit or some, I don't know, some place where people like us will collect that data and will give the information to other people how to do some things. So in the developing plan of the city of Niš for the period 2021 to 2027, it is recognized that the monitoring unit should be in the city administration, and particularly the city administration for construction, where Anna and I was located. And during our meetings and our process, local administration decided to create that unit, and it was so satisfying for us, because now we are officially monitoring unit. you see on this slide some presentation of the things from our meetings and the way how we did our meetings. You see the list of people from different organizations. After that, we with the with mail address, with the phone numbers and location of their institutions. And the second part is the part for conclusions from that meetings. And on the end, the obligations. After every meeting, we had the obligation for particular conclusion. So you see on the right side the deadline, I should say, in what period someone should collect some data for the next meeting. And that was our start. We had a lot of workshops with the World Bank and etc. And on one of the workshops with the World Bank, where we had people from smaller municipalities, from public enterprises, from sectors of local administration. And after that workshop, all the people who was on that workshop told us that they have a huge need for some place, for some unit or some organization that will collect data, that will give them good informations. So it was some kind of a validation of creating of our unit. How we coordinate with other departments. I said, like, we will start with from now. We will do 1 week meetings with those people, and we recognized that you see, system plus people plus data is especially the equals with the city development plan and the priority goal, and it is the priority of our city. So I put on this slide 2 good practices. First, I said already, continuous meetings with the City Planning Institute, because we are based of urban planning. It's our first topic, the most important SDG. Workshops, and for me, I think the most important thing is constantly education, learning, and hearing what other people can say about their good practice. Our future goals is smart search for data, indicators, and a good index of life. We will try to collect as more indicators and more data as we can, and after that to develop a good methodology how to do in the next years with more people, with maybe more teams of people, and to create some holistic approach in collecting that data. For me, holistic approach is exactly monitoring unit with parallel with voluntary local review. So that's from me. If anyone has a question, let me know.
Thanks a lot, Miljana. I have few questions in mind, and I will actually would like to start from one, which is the last thing that you mentioned, that holistic approach that you see connected to the voluntary local review. So, what is in this whole work that you are doing? What is the role of the voluntary local review? How are you working? How do you think the voluntary local review can then help you in what you are doing?
Well, from the point of holistic approach, voluntary local review collects indicators for good life. For us, collecting that data for good life means good urban plans. From that view of urban planning, I should say we have some issues, and we need better planning documents, because a planning document is the base of everything. You know, if you cannot plan something if you don't know the real needs of the people who will live there. So maybe I want to plan the school in some place, but in that place I don't have enough children, for example. So that voluntary local review and that SDG particularly can show us what will be good to put in that plan document.
And Miljana, another question, and then I will. I mean, please, colleagues, feel free to raise your hand. Which is the level of disaggregation that you manage to have in the city of Niš? Do you manage to get to the neighborhood level? Do you have access? Are you capable of creating GIS, spatial analysis? I'm curious to understand which is really the level of data availability that you can work with.
We think that we have a lot of data everywhere. I told that we recognize that some people in some institution have a lot of knowledge about something. For us, it is data, but it is spread away to whole city. We have a lot of data, for example, in our smaller municipalities. The city of Niš has 5 municipalities. They are working like a small city, you know. I think it wouldn't be easy to collect everything, but we know that we have a good material, and we can collect good material because experience in 2 years ago showed us that we can collect everything.
Super, thanks a lot, Miljana. Sinija, I saw that you were raising a hand. Is it Aldrin?
Yes, thank you, Martino. I would just like to compliment Miljana a bit, because now during our work on VLR with Tanya and Milena, we are realizing some bottlenecks of what you asked, at which level we are collecting data. So City of Niš, it's administrative unit, local administrative unit. But inside that administrative unit, you have the urban settlement itself. So we have dilemma now while we're working on VLR. Are we going to collect data at the level of administrative unit or at the level of urban settlement? So the urban settlement, we left it maybe for a bit later because most of data are at the level of administrative unit. But that is something we leave things for later. We have to go step by step, and our Statistical Office of the Republic of Serbia is gathering mostly the data at the level of administrative unit. So there are a lot of challenges, as Emiljana said, and data are everywhere, but we should now organize them, and the monitoring unit is going to add value in that organization of data and in their best use afterwards, because if we only collect data and we don't use them, there is no point. I'm very enthusiastic about this evolution in niche that is happening currently, and I would just really like to hear in other cities around the world that we have here in our workshop, how does it work? Do you have monitoring unit specific, or it's a part of urban development, urban planning unit, or how it functions in other cities? It would be interesting to hear. Thank you.
Indeed, thanks a lot, Sinija. And I have follow-up questions that we keep for later, but let us actually pass the floor to the first speaker from Greater Amman Municipality, Ms. Name Jadzazi, Head of the Planning and Development Unit from Greater Amman Municipality. Name, yes, you are there. Thank you for connecting. Thank you for being with us. Really,
thank you so much. Thank you.
It's a pleasure for us, and as Sinija was mentioning, it would be great to know more about your experience. And the floor is yours. Please, you can start whenever you want.
Thank you. I'm happy also to being there with you and to share this data and our experience with you. First of all, I'm Name Jadzazi. I work at Greater Amman Municipality as Head of Planning and Development Unit on the Information Technology Directorate. So I'm a member of the team of VLR. The head of the team is Engineer Akram Khresat, and I'm a member. So because of that, I'm attending this webinar instead of him because he has another webinar. I don't know if I can share my presentation, or if it's already, you can share it with us, because I've sent it already by email.
Gaia?
Yes, I can share it. I can share it.
Okay. Now I will talk about our experience in Amman City, creating voluntary local review report, VLR. Next. Okay. Our agenda, I will talk about some topics. First of all, demographic characteristics of Amman City. Then we will talk about the need for VLR, VLR plan, the methodology that we did during the preparations, Amman's VLR goals and the structure. And then I will brief directly to the VLR, how we develop the VLR in a nutshell, partners and stakeholders, the main outcomes, our challenges, the challenges that we faced, and the final, the lesson learned, so you can take them in your consideration while preparing your VLR. Next.
Yeah, maybe Name, when you want to move forward, you can say next, so that Gaia can move forward.
Okay. So Amman City demographic characteristics. Briefly, in Amman is the capital of Jordan, and it has 4 million residents, about 42 national population, and 36 refugees, 36% refugees, and the total area of Amman is about 800 kilometers. Okay, next, please. Need for VLR. When we want to, why we did already VLR. First of all, believing in the needs of Amman city for planning based on evidence through accurate data and information. This was the main reason. Second, believe in the importance of SDGs for developing and improving the performance of the city in all aspects, social, cultural, environmental, all aspects. Also improving the quality of life of Amman's residents, since SDGs were formulated through real experiences of cities in the world. And the third reason, the city needs to harmonize the achievement of national goals, royal initiatives, and SDGs derived from the best practices of cities around the world. The last reason was the strengthened VNR with evidence and accurate data at the city's level in Jordan. Also, VLR came to measure the city's performance in achieving SDGs to reach an outstanding performance in the year of 2030. Next. VLR plan. As the first step was announcing the intention of the city of Amman to release the report. Then we have the information GAM work team by Amman Mayor agreement. Then we set the goals that the first priorities, the high priorities for Amman municipality. Then we create the framework. Then it came the implementation. This was defining the responsibilities and the initiation phase. Then we went to the implementation phase through workshops, collecting data, meetings, brainstorming. And all these things happened with partners, with the work team, and with a consultants outsourcing Greater Amman Municipality. The outcomes, we have first the VLR draft, then we review the draft and make some updates to get Amman's VLR final report. Before going to the next slide, maybe I can mention now the first steps for engaging in VLR. Already, first we recognize that the Greater Amman Municipality decision makers of VLR, a team was formed from GAM sectors working together and to prepare the report. Already all GAM partners, especially governmental sector, private sector, NGOs, international bodies, academics, human residents were invited to participate in the preparing the VLR. Then the VLR team meetings have been held with the GAM partners in order to promote awareness of the importance of SDGs and VLRs. The team leader of VLR choose a member at the VNR team for continued coordination. Then reviewed many global cities VLRs to take an idea about VLR. At the final steps, we using the accurate data that validated with ISO 037120, which is Amman Urban Observatory outcomes that computed according to WCCD indicators, which are closely related to SDGs. This steps was made first steps for engaging in VLR. Okay, this it was a little bit more details about the plan. Next, please. The methodology. First, we guided by the UN Habitat UCLG guidelines on the voluntary local reviews VLR, volume 1 and 2, adapted to the context of Amman. Then the principles, evidence-based, participatory, meaningful, action-oriented. These are the 4 principles that we took on our consideration while preparing the VLR. SDG selection criteria, relevant to city's development, priorities and challenges, reflective towards the city competences, reflecting data access and availability. And the 4th, reinforced focus on mainstreaming gender across the SDGs reviewed based on the municipality's request. This was the methodology. Next. Okay, now the selected goals for Amman, after discussing and brainstorming, we finalized that we have these the high priority goals for VLR. They were 6 goals. Goal number 3, 7, 9, 11, 13, and 17. So VLR focused on a review of the city's progress towards 6 goals. Selected the SDGs are relevant to cities' development priorities and challenges, reflective towards the city competences and reflecting data access and availability. Next. The structure of the VLR, the link of the VLR report is down there, the slide. It contains the methodology in a nutshell, local guiding principles for the VLR, as we mentioned before, and the VLR participatory process. Next. Okay, as the developing VLR in a nutshell, as I told you briefly, setting the stage, discussing expectations and objectives. Then we go to the data collection, formulating from GAM VLR committee through weekly meetings with GAM, desk research, and SDG 17 survey launch. Development and review of VLR working papers corresponding to each SDG, and development of key messages, review by selected organization, editing, formatting, graphic design, and VLR launch. Next. Okay, local guiding principles for Amman VLR. As I told you, we took in our consideration 4 principles. First one, evidence-based data and information were collected in order to produce indicators for measuring the sustainable development goals. In the implementation of initiatives and project reporting the progress towards the SDGs. The second principle was participatory. All stakeholders, we make a list of stakeholders, all stakeholders from all sectors of Greater Amman Municipality, ministries, government departments, civil society, international bodies, and so on, following the central promise of the 2030 agenda for SDGs of leaving no one behind. And the third principle, full alignment, compatibility with Jordan VNR that we launched before. Amman gathers 42% of the total population of Jordan, report a complementary initial presenting similar challenges and opportunities in 2 different but complementary levels. And the fourth one is actionable, and highlights the projects, initiatives, policies, and strategies implemented by various groups of stakeholders in Amman City to strengthen current efforts to support progress towards the SDGs. These were the 4 principles for Amman's VLR. Next, please. Okay, the partners and stakeholders. The stakeholders' participation, as you can see, we have public sector, about 27, international organization, 22, VLR committee, we were 19 employees in the committee. Sorry, it's a committee, not committee. Academic, 13, civil society, 11, private sector, 9, and external experts, they were 4. About the partners with the VLR were ESQA, UN Habitat, and UCLG. Next. The outcomes. We had some major outcomes from the VLR. The first point that VLR mainstreamed the SDGs into policies and strategies, programs, and partnerships, and municipal operations covering energy, building, housing, and transport. In addition to that, VLR developed a new approach to participatory planning and deliver innovative, climate resilient urban infrastructure to achieve the SDGs. The second point, the second outcome was applying the guidelines of the new urban agenda 2030, promote the implementation of the new urban agenda at local level, especially SDG 11, municipal policies, strategies, programs, plans working towards for inclusive city, leaving no one behind and ensuring that all partners and communities in Amman are considered in the planning process. And the third outcome was promoting evidence-based policy, developing and building capabilities in information technology, adopting SDGs with the national strategies and GAM strategic plan 2022-2026. Next. The fourth outcome, there's a slide before. Before the challenges, there is a slide. Anyone? Yes. The fourth outcome, next. Yes. The fourth outcome is develop multiple partnerships with the private and public sector institutions, investors, financial institutions, business, international organizations, and local NGOs to gather efforts toward localizing SDGs and to develop government services. And the last one, promoting resilient and climate resilient urban infrastructure, particularly in the water, waste, transportation, and energy sectors, and by providing accessible and open green public spaces for all, as well as the complete electric transformation of city services. These were the major outcomes of the VLR. Next, please. Now I will talk about the challenges that we faced during the VLR. First challenge was the challenges that related to the policies. There were challenges to align national efforts and SDGs, also frequent changes in policies and responsible leadership. The second was related to funding, limited funding and allocations with the general budget, and lack of interest by donors and international partners in providing financial support. The third one, challenges related to technical issues, the overlap between the tasks in the different sectors, and the need of update the laws and instructions. Institutional and human capabilities, lacking in capabilities and competences, also lacking in comprehensive and documented database. And I will talk about this challenge especially in details in the slide after this slide. The second challenge was COVID-19 pandemic impact all sectors due to the closure and the suspension of some aspects of life. And the last one was the refugees. As you know, regional crisis led to waves of immigrants that affected the country infrastructure. So we took the refugees in all goals that were reviewed, and it was considered as a challenge for us. Next, please. Challenges related to data collection, and this was a big challenge because we faced many challenges during the data collection. First one was the limited data access, limited data availability and aggregated data, outdated statistics. Data are not produced at regular intervals. Data not sourced or referenced, and data not corresponding to the administrative boundaries of the city. Because of these challenges already we faced, we already make many procedures to solve this problems or challenges, and as a recommendation to avoid this kind of challenges, the next slide will talk about the lesson learned after all these challenges we faced. Next, please. The lesson learned. First of all, data production collection must be centralized at the municipal level, using official statistics disaggregated at the city level, produced by the national statistics offices. Reinforced production of high quality urban data, using international standards for data production or management. Strengthen relationships between various data producers towards the development of urban data ecosystems, and reinforce data production as a development priority. This was my presentation. I hope that I answer every question that you were thinking of, and if you need any additional information or data, I'm ready anytime.
Thank you, Nama. And I mean, the process of the VLR of Amman is well known, and in the region has created a very important best practice that many other cities, not only in Jordan, are now following. Now, I will turn the question into your actual way of working, in the sense that given that we are now looking at the niche monitoring unit, at the establishment of this unit after a few years, and given that Amman has been successfully, can you hear me?
I can't hear. No. The voice. Hello.
Can you hear me?
Hello.
No.
Everyone
can hear me?
fine? Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you, Name. We can hear you. Can you hear us? She was. Yeah. That's a pity. Name, can you hear us? Okay. Name probably disconnected. She will reconnect. No, she's still here. Maybe Name, do you want to try to reconnect? Let me.
Okay.
So maybe while we try to solve the connection problems of Name, I have a few questions. As head of planning, she has lots of experiences. We have been connected in few also regional workshops where Name has been leading the discussions around the planning unit. So, but let's move forward so that we don't lose time. And maybe while Name reconnects, can I ask Diego to come in? Diego, thank you. We have been, we know each other and the experience of La Paz personally again, and I would like to share my congratulations to you and to all of your colleagues, because for someone that has been working on SDGs localization monitoring for a few years, La Paz had made some. I mean, we have been inspired, and you have not inspired only the UN, but you have inspired other cities. So I will gladly give you the floor to give us a bit more of your experience, taking into consideration exactly the aspiration of the cities of niche. Diego, thanks a lot. Over to you.
Okay, hi everyone. Good afternoon for you, good morning for me. So I'm going to share my presentation. I can't do that for, I don't know why, but I can.
Yeah, we probably need to make you presenter.
He is a presenter already.
Okay. You should be able to share your screen from the top bottom. You have an arrow.
But I can't. I share with you in the chat.
Yes. Gaia, do you mind?
Please.
No problem. Please share it.
So first of all, I would like to thank you for the invitation to participate in this event. It is a pleasure for us to share with you our experience, and at the same time to learn from you in order to improve our daily work. Like Martino says, I am Dioneres, I live in La Paz, and I hope to share our experience and learn from you. Currently, I work in Municipal Secretary of Planning in in the unit that is in charge, among other things, of monitoring the SDGs. La Paz is a municipality that has around 1 million habitants, and only 5% of the territory is urban. In addition, we are the seat of government of the country, which means that we have a particular characteristics compared to the other municipalities. Thanks, Gaia. Next, please. Well, in this slide, I would like to point out that the entire government planning process is related to the SDGs and its action areas. That is, we relate the vision of our territory to the famous 5 Ps of the 2030 agenda and 17 goals to transform the world. This is how we came to obtain 6 major axes of territorial planning, and also constitute that goals to be achieved. As you can see to your right, these are healthy and safe, with smart and productive, modern and green, fast and interconnected, with open and effective government, and finally, La Paz in peace. That are our 6 major axes of territorial planning, and these are linked to the SDGs in the planning process that we do. No? Next, please. After this general introduction, I would like to divide the presentation into 2 main parts. On the one hand, I will present the Municipal Research Information and Statistics Office, especially the objective, structure, and products we developed in it. And on the other hand, I will focus on the challenges and lessons learned during the SDG monitoring process and the work that we developed day by day. No? Next, please. We have an objective. In this case, I could copy the definition we have in our function manual, but I think it would not to be useful because it is about conventional manual directives. For this reason, I prefer to believe that if there is something that defines our work, it is precisely to transform data and information into ideas. And it is a look that allows us to do what we do. No, for that reason, I prefer this definition, like a dream. I think is, as I said, is more useful. No, next, please. The structure of our unit within this framework, the objective to transform data and information into ideas within this framework. We have 3 main areas. First, the one in charge of the collection, systematization, analysis, and visualization of the statistical data. Second, the one that generates all the geographic and cartographic information of the municipality. And third, the space where this data and this information is taken, we do academic research, is developed and proposals of public policies or the other types of studies needed for municipal management are analyzed. All this implies that we developed from small analysis sheets of ideas from urban interventions, for example, to studies on the quality of education in the municipality. So these are the three main areas that in our secretary that is in charge for data, for information, for research. Next, please, for that reason, in about the areas, we have some products. No, I think we can develop a lot of products, but in this opportunity, I would like to point out some of them that try to summarize what we do. With the data obtained, we create, as you can see, for example, first, we create dashboards that allow us to identify trends, analyze the status of some events and make decisions on actions to be taken. For example, this one shows what we call the COVID observatory, which was developed during the pandemic period and allowed us to identify the evolution of the pandemic. At the bottom, you can see the portal of publications that we produce, and currently we also have a blog where we post content on a frequent basis, such as book reviews, conceptualizations, analysis of specific data, among others. In the center of the screen, you can see a portal that allows you to identify all public investment actions that are carried out in each annual management. Once identified the action, for example, an infrastructure work, one can click and get information about it. For example, budget data, execution time, unit in charge, municipal district in which it is developed, among others that are useful both for public administration and from the neighbors who want to know what is done with the municipal budget. This also allows to improve transparency, for example, which is a frequent weakness in our public administrations. On the upper right, we see products specifically related to monitoring the SDGs. On the one hand, progress tracking portal that we expect to update 3 times a year from 2024. And on the other hand, our most recent voluntary local review, which has as one of its attraction the use of the new measurement tool developed by UN Habitat. I mean the UMF, the Urban Monitoring Framework. A little further down is what is called the geostatistical map, in which we visualize all the municipal data that we have georeferenced, and that allow us to obtain a more complete picture of the territory. Next, please. There are some products that we developed in our unit. So now I want to show a new tool that we are developing. It is a 3D map of the entire city, which has several functions. For example, in this case, it is the analysis of areas at risk of natural disasters. This allows us to address a series of actions aimed at mitigating the risk and taking public policy measures to preserve people's life. These types of tools are useful because they allow us a more real image of the areas and their physical characteristics. I show these products because we consider that the work of an SDG monitoring unit, for example, needs to transform this information into tools that allow the daily management of the territory. That is become an important space for public decision making. Next, please. So we have a lot of challenges and lessons learned, but I am going to show you the most important for us. Next, please. We have three big challenges in short time. First one is household survey 2023. We have a lot of household surveys previously in 2008, 2014, 2018, and this one be the most actualized survey. It allows us to compare the evolution of the territory with data. So for that reason, we are going to start this month the household survey, and we think we are going to start to develop research and visualization data until January or February of the next year. The second one is measuring the SDGs. This data collection of the survey kind of allows us to measure the SDGs in the territory. We have one index developed in 2018, so we are going to actualize this. And the third one is like a dream, but we think that we can do. It's a urban lab that allow us to do pilot projects, for example, work with the people, all that urban lab can do in these terms. No, these are the three challenges in short time. So the next, please, I am going to show you, I think, the 5 lessons learned in all this process. First, we need to contextualize tools. That is very important for us. The international tools are sometimes are thinking the cities of the municipalities in I don't know how to say in a similar cities, but we are different. For that reason, in our experience, the contextualized tools is one important lesson that we have to do. Second one is build a lot of databases. Without databases, we can't do anything for in our experience. So this is the second lesson learned, that the second lesson learned. The third one is interdisciplinary team. In our unit, we have different kind of professions. For example, we have economists, we have political scientists, architects, geographists, lawyers, anthropologists. Yeah, I think the interdisciplinary team can improve our point of view of the city, of the territory, because are a lot of perspectives of the same thing. So it's the third lesson learned, because we saw in other places that these units are conformed only for the economists and only one vision. And I think that the interdisciplinary team is one of the most important lessons learned. The fourth one, simplicity and communication skills. These topics are very technical, and the people need to understand this in a simple kind of messages. For that reason, we think the communication and the simplicity that we can show to the people these outcomes, these public policies are very important for us. So this is the lesson. And the last lesson learned that I think it's important is co-creation with people. We can't do the things from the desk. For that reason, for example, we have a participator. We built participation spaces for the people to work, for example, ideas from public investment, ideas for modify or improve our access of territorial planning, and that kind of things, for example. So I think that are 5 lessons learned that are important for the work of our unit. No, and next, please. I can finish this presentation with an local aphorism from one of the ethnies of Bolivia that said, looking backwards and forwards, we can walk in the present future. This means, I think, in the presentation, that we can't do that we do if we don't have the ability to use the things that were doing in the past. So, for example, all the databases, not all, but a lot of databases that we have are were building in other management municipalities. For that reason, I think we need to look backwards, but to the forwards, the challenges, for example, and that can allow us to walk. We don't need to run every time. We can walk to the present future, because our work now is going to make the path of the future, I think. So that is the presentation. All the questions that you have are welcome. Thank you.
Diego, thanks a lot. Thank you very much. I think I'm sharing everyone's thoughts when to say congratulations. Saying congratulations for 2 reasons. The first one is that Well, first for the presentation, because it was very interesting, and second because the products that you have, sure, I'm familiar with those, but the website, the dashboard with different statistics, the new product that you are now developing with the 3D animation, where you are able really to look into the GIZ and spatial dimension of your analysis. It's really something unique and very much to the point, where you are to transform evidence to ideas, as you mentioned. You have highlighted some challenges and lessons learned, which I think are very useful for what the city of Niš is looking into. I would like to ask you something, because you needed to start it from somewhere. Okay, so I'm actually thinking, what was the evolution process that brought you to have such an interdisciplinary team, such an ensemble of products? How did you start it first, and which were the challenging of this evolution? No, now that you have such a consolidated process, okay, but where did you start it from? Which were the initial stimulus and the challenges that you found in your path? And my second question is, to do all of this, and I don't intend to make to count dollars in anyone's pockets, but you need budget. I'm sure that there is a budget that is assigned to the unit, to the work that you are doing. Is this budget coming only from the municipal administration, or you have different sources from international cooperation or from other sides? Because I'm interested to understand how you managed to put together such an amazing team, products, which are the sources of budgets that you are using. Diego, over to you.
Okay, thank you for the questions. The evolution. I am in the municipality until 2021, but the direction is until 2015, more or less. I know that the unit evolves from one small team, the economists, that started to data analysis, and this have a reason. In our country, the territorial planning system obligates that the autonomous entities like La Paz, we have to do a plan, a territorial plan. For that plan, we need to do analysis of the territory. For that reason, this small team evolves to a big team. Now we have until 23 persons, 23 colleagues in the unit that are divided in that 3 areas. No? It's a lot, yeah, but maybe 15 of them are the team that goes to the territory every day. Every day they are in the territory, drone flights, no, something like that, and it's very interesting work. And the budget, it's only for the public administration. the salaries are the public administration. The international cooperation, we have international cooperation, small international cooperation for some publications, but we have a lot of technical assistance of international cooperation, like UN Habitat, our voluntary local report. We did that with technical assistance of UN Habitat. For that reason, I think it's not budget, it's more assistance that is very useful for us. But the salaries of the people is only public administration, it's budget of public administration.
Thank you, Diego. Thanks a lot. So 23 people going on the field, collecting data, it's impressive. So it's a lot of work, but I think it's something to look forward to. In general, I hope I see Tanya smiling. I think that she's sharing my my hope, but it's complicated, as we all know. Tanya, Miliana, I'm looking at you if you have any question for Diego.
Miliana.
You want me first to say something? I heard 23 people. We have 2 to 3 people in monitoring unit in the moment. Okay, your city is bigger than Niš, but I think that everything is clear. We have to do a lot, but we don't have a lot of people. So I think Martin said asked a quite question. What was the number of people in team? And my question is, for what is the period of doing on collecting data to get your VLR with 23 persons? Because I don't know what is for us, what is our perspective with the, I should say, 5 people. What is our timeline to do a good VLR? So how many days or years did you spend on collecting data?
It depends of the work. For example, the household survey, we are going to spend 5 months of collecting data, more or less. And other works, for example, a survey for risk management in specific zones or areas, maybe a week. It depends of the work, but the short works, the short works can expand to week, 2 weeks, and the big service, it's like 5, 6 months, maybe.
Diego, Miliana was wondering also about the voluntary local review process. If you have been involved in that process directly, do you know how much the data collection process for the VLR lasted in terms of time for the VLR?
Yeah. First, the VLR compares a lot of data that we have from 2008, maybe. We have statistics annually, all the years. So for that reason, we have databases for a year, every year. For that reason, it's more easily for us to compare this and to show the evolution, for example. For that reason, for the VLR, we need more or less 3 months, maybe, for data collection and write the document with feedbacks and everything that we need to do to VLR.
So Miliana,
Okay.
for Diego, it was a process of 3 months, if I well understand, data collection and writing of the content against the data being collected. Tanya,
I want to ask something. I think every beginning is difficult, okay, great job for La Paz and Bolivia. It's great, but I noticed that you have a strong support of government, of administration, because you have salary full salary from that job, and that is a great. And I want to ask about Urban Lab. I saw on your slide you have. What is a function of Urban Lab? What is that is integrated in unit of monitoring or something different? And do you supporting if that are different people in Urban Lab, if you have a support from them, how they function?
Okay, thanks. And the Urban Lab, it's one of the most important challenges in short time. It is going to be integrated with the direction, and we want to like a song step by step, but I want that the Urban Lab comes to a space for co-creating with people. We have a lot of data, we have an ideas, but we need to build with the people. So this is the challenge of the Urban Lab, and it's going to be a unit into our direction. No, I think that is our dream.
if I can complement and I would have asked you the same question, actually, Diego, of what Tanya just asked. But you inhabit that we have a bit of experience with urban labs around the globe in general. The word lab literally means laboratory. It's an abbreviation of laboratory. So Diego, correct me if I'm wrong, but the urban labs, at least how we saw from experiences from other cities, are really where the ideas take shape as well. No? The data that the unit, that the direction collects, that is analyzed and co-created together with communities, and that's where the lab comes in. It's a place, it's a platform of co-creation, of consultation, of development of ideas based on the data that you have collected. So, of course, urban labs can take many different shapes, but it's basically the unit for co-creation and consultation within the monitoring or the statistical division that happens in many cities. And we can definitely share some experiences, Tanya, if you are interested, from more and different urban labs from around the globe. Actually, I mean, in Amman, the colleagues of Amman have needed to leave, needed to quit the meeting. But Amman has an urban lab being implemented in the city within the planning unit, and it's the coordination that it serves to consultative processes that the monitoring unit is taking place. So, colleagues, I would like to take a bit of a second for a way forward. And I think Tanya, Miliana, looking to you specifically, yes, the work is a lot, but as you mentioned, Tanya, every start is difficult, right? So I'm sure that for La Paz it was the same. Starting to collect data, starting to build databases, starting to understand which are the different products that are useful for the city. So how do we transform the databases into products, into processes, into ideas, into outcomes? I think that's a very important first step. I would like to ask Diego if you have maybe any document that or a report of the work of the division, or a governance document of the division, because I think what Tanya and Miliana are looking into is really also to define the grounding documents of this monitoring unit. So what is the governance of the unit? What is the unit should be doing? Which are the different products? That will be very good for us and for them to understand and to start orienting really the work of the unit itself. So in case you have any of those, structural documents of the division, that would be useful. I'm pretty sure they are in Spanish, but from our side, likely so we have a Spanish team that can help translating for the colleagues of Niche in case you are able to share those documents. And that's the first request. The second point is that I think the building of the databases becomes at this point essential. No, start creating, collecting, analyzing, not only where data tell us that interventions are needed, but by collecting data, understanding where the gaps on data needs to be filled and where do we need to work to create new indicators, to collect new data, and so on. So I think that's something that is quite useful. But in general, the process now, Diego, you have different products that you have been developed, platforms online, which are completely transparent and accessible. That's a long-term objective that I hope we will be able also to look into for the city of Niche, having some online platforms on monitoring and data and statistics is amazing. I think we will try to focus and to start from the voluntary local review process from the city of Niche and use this first exercise to then together move forward in the longer term. So maybe taking into consideration the time, if there is any other question from Miliana, for Miliana, Tanya, Diego, anyone that is connected, please raise your hand. Otherwise, we can close the meeting. I don't see hands. So yes, Diego, please.
Yeah, we don't have a document, but I can write one for you. It's not a problem for me.
Thank you, Diego. That would be fantastic. I mean, I don't want to give you more work of what you're already doing, but if you're able to put together something, that would be fantastic, because it's a great opportunity to have your experience in this sense, and it will be very useful to understand better your structure and so on. That thank you very much for your availability, really, Diego. It's much appreciated. Okay, colleagues. Then at this point, I'll thank Diego. I'll thank the colleagues of Amman that have already left. I'm thanking everyone that is connected. I'm thanking the colleague of Niche again for your commitment. From our side, we really look forward to support this process, and I hope that Diego, we will for sure, Diego, come back to you. Okay, I think that we are very happy to have established this connection. I hope that we will be able to share more of this experience of the monitoring unit and the voluntary local review of Niš with you to get your feedback based on your expertise. And this is the beginning of a process. It's a difficult one, but it's a very, very nice one. So we have commitment colleagues from all the sides. Thanks again, everyone, for being connected. We keep in touch then. Have a very nice day. Thank you again.